to DARKSIDE Adaptive Interactive Music Documentation. Music and an original score composed by Alexander CC. This documentation will be explained how to use this music, from music design, music philosophy, video interrogation, wise integration, source file, raw files coordination. Let's get started. The idea starts from very basic. Long 4 beats with long slow 12 bar 90 BPM. This idea can't even tell if this is a melody because it's too simple. But it's a very good start to revel at another motif. Then the idea revolves to a very simple melody. A melody just includes 4 notes only, 6th, 7th, 1st, 2nd. Yet still slow and best for giving it dark, mysterious feeling combined. We do play it in below middle C. And the more we listen, the more we can feel something not right and something will happen. In the end, the melody is repeated and builds up to higher notes, and makes a great peak in the end. In this section we titled, Dark Plan. In another way, we can create a similar motif too, and make it feel it's fast, but actually, the time's still passing slow. It's a replicated feeling to the listener. This is the power of 9/4 beat. This is similar to the motif we heard before. These two motifs feel like two brothers created by parents. With the motif above, we can create another melody with a very clear sentence. It has the right beginning, middle, and end. This is the peak of evolution. There is one big benefit and one big problem with this motif. The big benefit is, the melody is very unique and beautiful. It can be the whole DARKSIDE series main theme. And also this melody can be remembered easily. Let's imagine if someone who already experienced playing the game and walking in the mall accidentally listened to the main theme song randomly. They will remember the world of the game and the character they develop on the game. They will imagine things just by listening to it, like a virus. I have played some games too in my free time. If I listen to this music, then I remember the Fallout 4 game with amazing graphics in that era. When I listen to this song,
never say my songs,
I remember the Final Fantasy game with the amazing world design. If you also played the game that I listed, I'm pretty sure you will agree with me and feel nostalgic with just listen to the music. Sometimes make me I want to play the new game again. But don't forget the disadvantage of this. The big problem with this melody is because it's too good and too easy to listen to. It meaning the listener will following the melody. Some people would start following and sing the melody in their heart. If this melody happens in the middle of the gameplay, the player will focus on thinking about the music itself, rather than focus on the gameplay. So this part should be very carefully placed. For example, when the player gets very boring and has a long travel destination, we can have this music. Then when the player arrives at the destination, we change to another appropriate music. This section is the main theme, and we name it, The Truth. Why? Because this melody kind of reflects parents' motif another side. Let's say the motif we heard before it's feel evil and dark. Then this is the reason and the truth behind it. Then here we go, parents motif and child motif. They are similar on lots of sides. With these 4 motifs combined, let's make a key motif. The center and core of it, the DARKSIDE series. This motif key is created in a very unique way. When other music was created from the core of the key motif, this music key motif was created by another motif. It's a 180 degrees different workflow, and so that's why this motif can be very unique. Let's just hear the key motif. This motif can just be played with itself. And no one questions him, where is the rest of the melody sentence? But let's hear another motif. Yes, we can feel what is continues from the motif. So this key motif can be a very strong element in the game. For example, this music can be placed when the character finding something that very important to the story. It can be played short like this. Or can be played continuously. And we call this section as key of reason. Because the purpose for another motif to stand are to create this key motif. Then when the core of everything is created, then we can make a very very complex music sequence. Let's have a listen to it. Then let's listen to the full variation with the full orchestra. This section has the most lost of features, also very rich and highly detailed, in total of nearly 1000 track. But I will explain later in the middle of the video. Just to be remembered, this part is fully adaptive interactive music, and with the help of WISE this section of the music can be randomized played depends on the player's condition, like health status, enemy count, and more. And this music part is the part that modern game needed most. And of course, this is very obvious, this part of music is the part for the fighting scene. So we called it Dark Operation. Complex, and lots of power, and of course not easy to be remembered. DARKSIDE also provides atonal music composition, contemporary classical, or actually, I can rather declare it's a part of a bigger massive sound effect than it's a part of the music. Because the atonal music system doesn't wire with musical keys, my ear it doesn't make sense this is a part of the music. A lot of the part it feels so uncomfortable to listen to. The music is very very complex beyond anything that has too many details on it. Anyway, how uncomfortable it is, and how bad this part, it's still a very important aspect of the music design. Well, somehow this atonal music succeeded to manipulated my feelings, and I feel disgusted and horrible. It did the job. Just kidding. Anyway, you know what I mean. This kind of music is very rare. Rare in the movie industry and also rare in the game industry. Why? I will explain more details at the back of the video. This section we named Discovery. This is the preview of the video that this music made based on. This video demo has several sections. 1. The part when the player is climbing on the rooftop. 2. The part when the enemy is coming to the player's direction and the player needs to assassinate all the enemy. 3. The part that all enemy is dead and the player looking for the exit to the next stage level game. 4. When the player using electric wire to jump to another building. 5. When the player inside the building and kill the enemy with a fire weapon. 6. When the player goes outside the building and battles with the massive enemy. 7. When the car picks up the player and runs away from the place. Before we jump and see the actual video, I made the sound effect on the video. It's not a fancy polished job and not very good detail work, just draft purpose only. But I need the sound effect to run on this video to show how this music will integrate. This music mostly is just backing the sound effect, ambience, dialogue, etc. And the music becomes very clear only the part that needed. Because when I received this video there is no sound on it, so now we all can hear the music with proper sound effects and video visuals. And please turn the volume to the right dB so we can hear the perfect dynamic range, detail, and actual feeling. Or usually on studio monitor turn about 50% output and for earphones about 80 to 85%. Let's get started.
neutralized.
You suck!
You picked the wrong house, fool! I missed though. Man.
Oh my god! Who the hell cares?
Ain't nobody got time for that. You suck.
Get over here!
Yeah, pardon me, the real Rolls-Royce engine sound is hard to hear from some distance. But for the sake of the player can feel the rush, we have to put louder engine sound. Anyway, let's hear it one more time, this time is music only, and let's see which part only we using on certain parts. let us talk about music design and philosophy. This is the main idea of everything. And pardon me, all the concepts we talking about, it's a personal opinion. It means this all music and concept are what I imagine only, but maybe it's different from what the game director and game costumer wanted. You will understand what it means soon on the explanation. When I looked at the video, I think about what appropriate music style should be designed. The first thing that comes out of my brain is Mission Impossible movie, since this movie is very popular. Then I look at the gameplay Hitman. Just listen to the soundtrack. The Hitman soundtrack has a similarity with Mission Impossible. It has Mickey Mouse style on it. It means some of the music parts will be exactly synced and hit by the movement from the scheme. For example, it's because this system is applied first time on Mickey Mouse, so this system called Mikey Mouse. And guess what? It still has some comic style. This is the music that I made for a very long time ago. It's have some element that maybe the video can use. Let's just put the video with the music already, so you know what I imagine. Yes, I know what you feel, because this music is originally created for action comedy, but the point is this music designed this way to enjoy the appropriate visual, and so that's what Mission Impossible and this Hitman soundtrack does too. It's enjoyable. Just listen to a combination of the Hitman soundtrack and the video. It's 100% fit. So should I make an Impossible Mission style soundtrack? No, definitely no. Because it's too enjoyable and less intense on the gameplay. Besides, there is too much of this kind of soundtrack applied everywhere, movie, game, etc. I want to challenge myself to project what is in my mind accurately. So this is when the philosophy involved and getting complex. The beautiful melody is too much to hear and not really fit. But the ugly melody, nobody wants it. What should I choose? My answer is that possible to choose the middle of beautiful and ugly? Answer no, of course not. Rather you chose beautiful or ugly. That's it. Okay, that makes my job even harder. Then let's make something uglier. Because all people wanted a beautiful melody, and I feel pity with the ugly melody doesn't have their place to show. But in the end, the result is really surprising me. I was sitting on my piano before everything began, sketching the motive as you see in the pictures. This sound is replicated from the MIDI VST, and actually, the melody does not have character, weak, and some people will think how we should handle such a motif? With a bit effort from composition technique, it's possible to make any motif to be any style and any feelings. Let's hear this. What kind of feeling this originally? It doesn't have a complete form, but who knows, the transformation of this melody is surprising me. Rather said this melody is ugly, and the success of their ugliness, actually this melody is transformed. Transformation with the help of the composition. And when it completely matures, transform, the melody is unique and gorgeous at the same time. Like really, really attractive. Well, this motif got lucky this time. This is all thanks to the percussion hit and such a unique beat. I will explain later why this beat is very unique. There is a very big purpose to do such a complex beat. There is also another consideration why I want to avoid the Mission Impossible style. Can you guys guess where is this scheme located? Definitely, it's not the US, not UK, not Germany, and it's impossible to locate in Asia. My guess will be around South America, or Spain, or Brazil. But my best answer is Brazil. Here the image comparison. Then if I guess the location, I can say this action is definitely inside a rich mafia house or something similar. Because no way this place is a government or super agent hideout place. Then declaring this is mafia, then the music should have a religious side. Wait, why religious, right? Because those mafias are religious, even they are going to church and praise the Lord. You don't believe it, right? Neither me too before. This is the truth. Why are so many mafia members religious and devoted to God and church, even though it is clear that everything they do directly contradicts the Bible? We will not discuss why and how come. So now, we know the truth, we can have imagination on how this character involved, so hopefully the music can project this feeling of the environmental community. Knowing this and digging to the deepest level on the philosophy is very necessary. Let's hear the religious element of DARKSIDE music. Let's just solo the aria. Then let's just add more reverb. Feels like 100 meters away inside a big building. Then let's just turn down the volume a bit. And this my favorite part, when the natural notes coming. Maybe it's just used 10% part of the ensemble, and it's more than enough. This doesn't sound too serious, feels like a mystery and holly. Let's just solo the man choir. This melody that builds only 4 notes is a mix with medieval style. A very old style composition without a full harmony. Let's just hear the other instrument. Then let's return to the full choir. Notice the organ sound backing on the background? That's also the design that can make this composition religious too. Usually, the orchestra using about 4 or 5 contrabasses. But I want heavier and darker sounds. So I use 20 of the contrabass. This is the sound of 20 contrabasses. Thick and heavy, also dark. Something to mention, I insist to add a very old instrument. One is duduk, claimed to have more than 1,500 years of history. And second is santoor, which claim to have more than 3,000 years of history. This all effort has one purpose: to match the mansion building style, to make the music even have a deeper depth of history. These 2 instruments even exist a long time ago before the classical era. But maybe someone is asking, the invention of the orchestra also in the era that this architecture building invented, so why the orchestra is not enough? Well, I can't rely too much on the orchestra to visualize deeper culture and history. Because orchestra and the sound color itself still very common today. On Y's section 2 switcher, you can select some low tier states, and santoor duduk will come out. Also, the states can be changed at any time. It will sync every bar adaptively. Just remember to add flow control limit on the game engine, so it gives more assurance that the music state doesn't change so fast. Also, you can set the appropriate delay. Or to be more assurance, we can do sequence node. And recheck if the state is changing or not when the flow limit is off. If it no, then nothing will happen. If the state is changing during the delay, then it will redo the custom event again. Just remember not to use a very fast event like tick event. It will destroy the application. It also can be applied similar logic on C++. In the beginning part, the music should be abstract and can only noticeable by the player's subconscious, because really nothing happened yet, but the music is giving the feel of danger and dark. Duduk instrument has also been summoned here to match the building architecture when the player jumped and entered the building. Then we can do lerp nodes to increase a little bit of volume smoothly. Because in no time the enemy is coming. Notice the piccolo instrument? That's the quick cue enter for the discovery section to take over. This piccolo cue is very friendly to take over any of preview's music and smoothly change to discovery section music. It's an atonal music style. Remember what I explained about atonal music in the beginning, why this music is rare? It's because not all movies or games need that. Besides, the sound of atonal music is uncomfortable. But in this scene, an adaptive music feature, atonal music is extremely needed. It can dynamically change and randomly transform depend on the player status.
Don't!
Tango down.
Hey, what? Don't!
That's just amazing. Interactive music is really the leading soundtrack technology. So all enemy is assassinated. The next frame is the simplest track of the discovery section. There is no horror.
Target neutralized.
This part is the part that the music should take over the most sound. It will felt the section and level are changing. It's pretty simple, a brass ensemble with 7+9 harmony, then followed by the sub-bass and clusters on the end, to create the feeling of danger when turning to the building with broken electric wire. There are also available several versions of it. Finally, the player is entering the building and starts to defeat the enemy with fire weapons. It's good because from now the game changing to FPS mode. But the bad news is it's only shooting with guns until the end of the story, and nothing interesting comes out in the middle of it. And lots of enemies too. This can be very monotonous gameplay. But thankfully this shooting arena is split into two sections. First inside the building, second is outside the building. Then the sound and music can be split into two sections too. Because the building's surface material mostly is rock and ceramics, so it's okay to add exaggerated reverb. With adding the reverb, the player will be experiencing different gunshot sounds because it's echoing. And I think the player will enjoy the sound of the gun. So if we want to make the gunshot be a primary sound, then the music should be far away in the background and not interrupt the gunshot sound. With such an amazing architecture design on the building, we can apply our religious aria with reverb too.
You suck, jackass.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
When the player goes deeper, the music is a change to the dark operation section, the one who has the most features on it. It starts from a very small volume ascending and adding little by little. But still, we don't want to overtake the gunshot's sound. The interesting part is most of the sections on the dark operation are by 8th note per bit, while the intro to this section is started by 4th note per bit. It meaning the intro are twice slower than the actual speed. This is good to make the player not realize when dark operations are inserted.
I've missed those.
Oh my god, move the hell.
Is anyone noticed the heartbeat sound? This is triggered when the player's health is low, since the music is very simple pizzicato from viola and cello, so we no need to blend the instrument to the critical health track, just heartbeat sound is enough. Actually, this heartbeat sound usually used in older games, while I'm not found heartbeat sound in the newer games. Just need to remember there are several ways to show critical health on sound, this is one of them. Then when character health recovered, all the sound elements are back to normal. Sound beat trigger and sound beat stringers are not included on Wise. Soon the music will bend to the faster beat with spiccato action strings. Finally, the first session with gunfire ended, now entering the second section. All the reverb can be removed, either smoothly by lerp or immodestly remove. It's not necessary to have a reverb this time. All the night ambient sound also back to normal. Let's talk about a very detailed feature in the dark operation music section. Remember when I said this section has a very unique beat? You notice that this part is not like a normal 4/4 beat. It's a broken beat. Usually, it used most on film scoring on an action movie. The purpose is to break audience expectation because action movie it's mean to be surprised by what is the next action will actor do, but in the adaptive game, the reason to make a breakbeat can be extended to open more feature, like randomize the music structure every beat by character action. And even we can go deeper if we want to, like changing the pitch or the pitch note itself. Basically, the player game is self-composing the music, or we can say the player is holding the baton stick of the orchestra conductor. This is something very amazing that it's quite impossible to improvise an orchestra ensemble in real life. This is a revolutionary of music technology. Let's take a look at the complex beat. It's a build by adding the number by the current number and the sequence number before it. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. This sequence is applied to so many things: photography, computer chip, art. Someone claimed it the number of nature because nature uses this sequence as the structure of its parts. It's called Fibonacci sequence, or golden ratio in the movie industry. But why I'm doing so much trouble with this complex beat, It's also very hard to compose this music. It's because I wanted this motif to having so much feature that the music can match with the nature of the player state adapting and interacting. So I will give my beloved music to trust the nature number, rather said Fibonacci number. Hoping nature takes care of the motif. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. This is the very complex feature of Section 6, it can change easily in any state. I name it low tier, mid tier, high tier, super tier. The low tier is the simplest, super tier is the super loud one. But in the video demo, I just used it until mid tier only, and can't make it until super tier. Because the fighting scene is not long enough and the enemy is not many enough to deserve super tier. Because super tier basically just takes over all the sound, it's complex and loud. Section 6 also have blended of the scary track, that used to use when the character nearly death. And the scary track also dynamically changes its scary level by player health variable. Let's say player health been declaring as float variable, when it's below 50 then the track starts changing to a scary track, and the less the number, the scarier the music is. Just need to be remembered that all transition and fade out are very complex here. I worked more time to make it work perfectly, so better don't modify any of the parameters or transitions in Section 6, or it will just destroy the music. But if you expert with mixing sound, free to do a better job than me. Scary audio track bending with heartbeat.
Ain't nobody got time for that. You suck.
This is the ending part of the Dark Operation music section. It takes over all audio with brass and choir. In the end, the orchestra doing march style with attractive percussion to imitate multi-gunshot. Please enjoy the ending. This is the file structure. Please check and make sure the files you receive are exactly the number of files as the pictures. On the music files folder, there are two subfolders. One is the album version of the music, which means it's a complete ensemble without subtracting. Compressor optimized means this can be heard normally by speakers. It's available in MP3 and WAV. The original folder, it's not supposed to be heard because it doesn't optimize with compression. But the dynamic range of this music is better than the compressor optimized one. Its purpose to import it inside Wise or Game Engine and freely add effect there. Basically, this is a raw music file and very clean. Every R at the beginning of the title are meaning reverb. It's the files only contain reverb and delay and another effect. And need to remember I don't use reverb effect on Wise for lots of reasons. project files WISE on the version of 2021.1.1.0.7575. Project documentation is a necessary file and describes all the idea and design of this DARKSIDE music series, including this video itself. This folder is only the video demo with the full sound. This file is just general information and ID number list of the music export. It also includes a contact number inside it. This icon is provided a direct link to our online album. It's also available with the compilation version, which means every work are been mixed together on 12 minutes of music. Or just scan QR code, it can easily listen by your phone. I don't add any stringers or triggers. If you want to be tested in the game, you can add from the atonal section, so you freely customize. I also mention I don't add any effect before, it's because I don't recommend it. There is no way to add reverb on the ensemble orchestra after you combine export it. Because DARKSIDE Music Series has an outstanding reverb that already been calculated by Vienna Ensemble Pro software. Adding the reverb after the export will just ruin the balance of it. But in any case of circumstances, feel free to modify and add it by yourself. There is not much touch on WISE to give you more freedom to edit this raw music. So please enjoy the DARKSIDE project, and see you next time.